For many young South Koreans, Seoul is a magnet.
그런 제가 원하는 일자리들이 다 서울에 있었기 때문에 서울로 올 수밖에 없는 상황이었죠.
While elsewhere in the country, the population is at risk of disappearing.
아주 시골에서는 이미 아이를 낳는 소리를 들어본 지가 수십 년이 지났다는 곳들이 지방은 현실화 되고 있는 상황입니다.
여기 지금 평균적으로 제일 얕은 사람이 한 60대, 그다음에 이제 전부 다 70대에서 80대.
In the country with the world's lowest birth rate, is the capital Seoul to blame?
자녀를 갖는 것에 대한 생각 자체는 조금 하기가 어려운 상태입니다.
And the stakes are high if South Korea does not rebalance its rural-urban divide.
So if this kind of low fertility rate and extended life expectancy continues, South Korean economy and society disappears in the next 100 years.
Sounds like they want a ton of people. Send them to the farm. Let's see.
South Korea's summer holiday has just come to an end. But instead of taking a break, engineering freshman Lee Dong-hyun spent the time studying for an English proficiency test.
이번 방학에도 그냥 놀고 싶.
What? That's the English proficiency test? Is that a good way to learn a language? I don't think so. I certainly would be better off just watching some TV shows.
놀고 싶었는데 뭔가
What does the book say? I can't read it.
놀면 안 될 것 같은 그런 눈치라든지 아니면 그런
You must be
경쟁이나
amazing.
불안감 때문에 그냥 부모님한테 토익 학원 다니고 이 개발 하고 싶다 이렇게 말씀을 하게 돼서 지금처럼 이렇게 학원 다니고 이렇게 좀 뭐 어떻게든 해보려고 노력하고 있어요. 학원이 강남에 있는데
Originally from the rural province of Gangwon, Dong-hyun's parents had sent him to a high school in Gyeonggi, closer to Seoul. It's all in hopes that he would make it to one of the country's top universities, all located in the capital.
그쵸, 저희 학교는 1년에 서울대를 한 10명 좀 넘게 보내거든요. 그래서 되게 일반 고등학교 중에서는 1등도 해볼 정도로 전국에서 한 상위 20등 정도 안에 들어가는 학교였는데
South Korea has nearly 200 universities. The most prestigious ones can be found in the capital. They are known as the Sky
Seoul National University is one of the top 50 universities worldwide. Not like that rigorous, but like it is. I think it's like 30 something like that.
Sky Universities, an acronym for Seoul National University, Korea University, and
But that's basically the place to go if you are in Korea. That's how you stand out.
Yonsei University. Together, they take in the top 1% of students who sit for the college entrance exams annually. Graduating from a university in Seoul is seen as a seal of success.
There's a very actually interesting research on the future income gaps of the prestigious universities in Korea, in Seoul, and other local universities. The gap is so huge, over like $1,000 per month for the rest of their life. So that's why young people in their early 20s are pursuing universities located in Seoul area. So once you get into the prestigious school in Seoul, your lifelong income is kind of guaranteed.
Dong-hyun's story mirrors a much larger trend in South Korea. All the best opportunities are found in Seoul and its surroundings, prompting decades of internal migration to the area. As for Dong-hyun, out of 6 applications, he only received one offer, to Korea University's Sejong campus.
고려대학교 세종캠 다닙니다 하면은 다들 아 고려대 하고 그냥 마시는데 약간 세종캠인 거 공부를 너무 많이 안 했나 뭐 사람들이 나를 어떻게 보려나 그런 식의 눈치를 받는 것 같아요. 약간 예를 들자면 그런 것 같습니다. 그런 학교를 다니면서 약간 공부 잘하는 친구들도 많고 서울 안에 있는 대학들도 많이 보내는 그런 학교인데 저는 서울 안에 있는 대학교를 못 갔으니까 사실 좀 약간 실패작 그런 느낌도 들죠.
Education is a key driver for internal migration to the Seoul metropolitan area. Last year, there was a record high of 92,000 people who shifted to Seoul for academics. Whether Dong-hyun decides to go to Sejong or transfer school, he ultimately sees Seoul as his destiny.
강남 가면 진짜 엄청 다양한 세대가 존재하는데 그런 거 보면은 아, 나도 나중에 여기서 일하고 싶다라든지 뭐 나도 일하는 회사원들 보면 아, 나도 저렇게 되고 싶다라든지 엄청 많은 동기부여를 얻거든요.
Seoul is the dream for many South Koreans. So much so that the population of the Seoul metropolitan area, which is made up of Seoul, Incheon, and Gyeonggi province, has ballooned in the last 6 decades. Today, over 50% of the population reside here, just 1/8 of the country's territory.
Internal migration into Seoul metropolitan area skyrocketed in 1960s and 70s when South Korea
They have no choice, right? Everyone's trying to get out of their basic death sentence on the countryside or other cities. You need to be Seoul, or I guess you're screwed.
began its economic development strategy. But after 1990s, the migration into Seoul area is kind of stabilized. It is true that geographically Seoul and Seoul people sucks all the good things from all over the Korean territory.
그러니까 한국에서 이렇게 그 서울로의 인구 집중이 항상 있었던 것은 아닙니다. 1950년대 그 전쟁 이후에 재건 과정에서 여러 가지 도시개발이라든가 그런 것들이 서울에 집중되기 시작을 했었고, 그래서 많은 사람들이 이제 서울에 몰려들기 시작을 하다 보니까 거기에 필요한 주택이라든가 어떤 대중교통과 같은 기반 시설 이런 것도 공급이 되기 시작을 했고, 그렇게 됨으로써 여러 가지 환경들이 더 좋아지다 보니까 더욱더 사람들이 다시 여기에 몰려들게 된.
Today, South Korea is the 14th largest economy in the world, boasting a GDP of $1.76 trillion. The Seoul metropolitan area produces more than half of this. This success comes at the expense of its rural areas. South Korea's countryside is emptying out. Out of 243 local governments in South Korea, 89 have been designated at risk of extinction.
Almost 80, the local government also issue about the extinction issue because they are less than maybe 30,000 or 20,000 population right now. They have a big land, but they rest. So, which means some part of the Korea, there are not enough people just making one the local government. Also, we cannot use more effectively. So, the extinction means is in our society is a lot of the burden.
Even the second largest city.
So that means they're gonna put on pressure on the people in the city. So the weaklings gotta stay on and become farmers in areas that they have no intention of putting money into.
in Korea, which is Busan, is about
Because if they put money into those areas, then more people would be willing to stay, right?
to collapse because the population is declining so fast. Busan's people, particularly young people in their 20s and 30s, are moving quickly to Seoul area. The size of the old people over 65 years old is more than doubles than that of the 20s and 30s in Busan area. That is a very significant signal that Busan is getting very old, and Busan's economy can maintain their size and functions because of this population problem.
Conversely, 30% of Seoul's population today is made up of those aged 20 to 30, making it the city with the highest proportion of young people in the country. Apart from education, people also migrate to the capital area for employment. Former elementary school teacher Min Sang-ki moved to elementary school teacher Min Sang.
What's this guy doing? Nest.js? Looks like it.
Min Sang-ki moved to Seoul after switching careers to become an IT developer.
생각했죠. 처음에는 이직을 할 때는 광주에서 이제 이런 개발직 일자리를 찾아봤고 이제 근처 좀 대도시라고 불리는 그런 뭐 부산이나 그런 것들도 조금씩 찾아봤었는데 아무래도 제가 원하는 그런 수준의 일자리를 찾기는 어려웠고 그런 제가 원하는 일자리들이 다 서울에 있었기 때문에 서울로 올 수밖에 없는 상황이었죠.
Opportunities are now concentrated in Seoul. Over 50% of large companies with over 300 employees are found here. A similar proportion of mid-sized companies have set up headquarters in the capital and its surroundings.
특히 최근에 그런 혁신 기업들, IT 기업이라든가 그런 소프트웨어 기업들, 상당히 부가가치가 높은 그런 기업들인데 대부분의 이런 기업들이 서울이랑 수도권을 선호를 합니다. 그 이유가 젊은 혁신 인재들을 채용하기 쉬운 그런 측면이 있고 이런 기업에서 일을 하게 되는 그런 그 혁신 인재들이 선호하는 환경이 서울에 조성이 되어 있기 때문에 사람도 서울을 선호하고 기업도 서울을 선호하는 그런 측면이 계속 강화되고 있는 상황이기 때문에 앞으로도 상당 기간 수도권, 서울로의 인구 쏠림 현상은 지속될 것으로 예상이 됩니다.
This Seoul area is too much populated with many people and many firms. So we have to pay huge cost in maintaining the basic functions of the Seoul metropolitan area in terms of the highways, subways, and transportation and education, everything.
South Korea
Yeah, but it's gotta be effective as well. Because a lot of people use it.
Korea is currently going through a demographic crisis as birth rates plummet and people grow older. Why is the concentration of the population in Seoul making the problem worse?
원래는 이제 차를 타고 가는데 여기서는 이제 교통도 복잡하고 이제 대중교통 이용하는 게 조금 불편한 점이 저한테는 있죠.
It has been 2 months since 35-year-old Sang-ki started working in Seoul.
불편한 점은 이런 좀 거주 환경이 별로 좋아지지 않았다는 점이 좀 불편하죠. 왜냐면 동일한 비용을 지불하는데 지금 제가 살고 있는 곳은 원래 집에서 살던 곳에 비해서 한 10분의 1 정도 되는 제 크기니까 그런 점들이 조금 불편하고 또 화장실도 작고 뭐 샤워하는 공간도 작고 그런 부분도 불편하고.
Sang-ki stays in a Goshiwon, a single occupancy room originally designed for students to prepare for exams. Rooms are as small
What?
as 3.5 square meters. It is one of the cheapest housing rental options in South Korea, with prices ranging from $200 to $500 per month. Some 158,000 resided in Goshiwons in 2023.
더 비싸다고 저는 이제 느끼고 있고 특히 이제 뭐 식비 같은 경우 제가 전에 광주에서 소비했던 식비보다 서울의 물가가 좀 더 높다고 느끼고 있죠. 여기서는 제가 뭐 요리를 하거나 그런 여유가 안 되니까 모든 식사를 밖에서 사 먹어야 되니까 그런 부분들이 제 평소 생활비 대비하면 60% 정도의 추가 지출이 있는 것 같습니다.
According to real estate portal R114, prices of apartments in Seoul rose by 144% in the past 10 years. The average wage, however, only grew by 3.5% in the same period.
어떻게 보면 그런 수도권에 인구가 과밀하게 집중되어
It's unsustainable. People are living in closets if they can afford it.
있는 현상이라고 볼 수가 있는데 그래서 인구가 한 지역에 이렇게 집중돼서 나타날 경우에 여러 가지 그런 문제점, 단점들이 나타날 수 있습니다. 가장 중요한 것 중에 하나는 생활비의 상승, 그다음에 어떤 주택 가격의 상승.
The apartment rent for like a standard 3-bedroom and 2-bathroom is about $1,000 per month on average in Seoul area. But if you want to buy a house in Seoul, it is more than $1 million with the same size the house. So it is technically speaking not possible for young workers who just got a job to buy a house in Seoul area.
No, it's just not possible. There's nothing technical about it.
Designer Heda moved to Seoul from Quebec, 5 hours away from the capital.
태백이 굉장히 좀 작은 시골이다 보니까 일자리를 구하기가 아무래도 어려워서 당연히 서울에서 일자리를 구해야 된다는 생각이 좀 컸습니다. 아무래도 서울에 이제 우리나라에서 가장 큰 원단 시장이 있기도 하고 그리고 강이나 같은 일자리들이 좀 많이 몰려있다 보니까 여기 계속 있게 되었습니다.
Heda set up her own studio in 2017, selling custom-made clothing. 11 years since she arrived in Seoul, the 31-year-old still feels the pinch of living in the city.
계속 매 달마다 버텨나가는 그런 느낌이 좀 많이 듭니다.
Apart from the high cost of living, competitive pressure also keeps the young on edge. Based on a 2023 survey by Statistics Korea, more than half of the 1 million unemployed South Koreans hold a college degree or higher. On average, respondents took 10 months to find a job.
서울에 왔을 때는 어쨌든 제가 원하는 일자리를 찾아가고.
In America, apparently it's like over 1 year now. So the problem is that it's just trending to the point where it's already unsustainable. It already doesn't work. I mean, if you have a country where like only the birth rate is like 0.6 and it's getting worse and no one can afford a house, I mean, you don't have to be a genius to know that this will explode. But how will it explode is the question.
To find a job.
서울에 왔을 때는 어쨌든 제가 원하는 일자리를 찾아가고 또 제 능력을 끊임없이 키우지 않으면 제가 원하는 어떤 직업을 가질 수 없으니까 그런 점에 압박을 느끼고 그래서 저는 이제 퇴근하고 나서도 계속 이렇게 공부를 하는 거고 그 경쟁과 압박이 꽤 있다고 생각하죠.
아무래도 밤늦게까지 불이 꺼지지 않고 너무 다들 열심히 살기 때문에 나도 이 경쟁에 뒤처지지 말아야겠다라는 그런 느낌이 자연스럽게 들게 되는 것 같습니다. 이라고 해야 될까요? 뭔가 이겨야 된다는 그 마인드가 굉장히 좀 강했던 편이어서 더 잠 안 자고 더 열심히 더 많은 성과를 내야겠다라는 생각으로 계속 살았습니다.
Well, we say that in Korean labor market, we have both of the hell and the haven. It is a hell for young people and haven for middle-aged. The unemployment
That's just called exploitation in more cultured areas.
rate used to be around the 10%, very high compared to other OECD member countries before the COVID pandemic. But that declined down to 7.5% recently. But for those who are in
That's still a lot, and that's assuming. Well, we need to add that all those who have given up, not looking for jobs, are not even counted. So assuming that, I'm not sure because like it varies based on country, but like if you didn't get a job for like 1 year, then you're not counted unemployed, right? You couldn't get a job, so like I guess you were like you're just doing nothing, right? You may be like retired or something. It depends. I wonder if they count those people.
in the ages between 40s and 50s, the unemployment rate is about 1.5%. But for new college graduates, it is extremely difficult to get a job. I mean, the decent jobs in South Korea.
Since the pandemic, cost and competition led more to leave the capital. Seoul's population fell below 10 million for the first time in 2020. But many simply moved to the capital's periphery. So the pressures of urban living show little signs of abating.
서울의 주택 가격, 생활비가 너무 높기 때문에 대안적으로 경기 인천 지역으로 이주하는 그런 그 사람들이 있다고 볼 수가 있겠습니다. 이런 것들만 해결되면 언제든 다시 서울로 유입이 가능한 그런 상황이라고 볼 수가 있겠습니다. 그런 상황이라고 볼 수 있겠고, 그래서 서울은 여전히 인구 압박이 강하다고 볼 수가 있겠습니다.
광주에서 일하고 있어서 이제 저희 와이프도 서울에서 일자리를 찾고 있는 중입니다. 그래서 이제 저희가 감당할 수 있는 수준의 지역들을 이제 서울 안에서 지역들을 찾아보고 있고, 만약 그게 불가능하다면 서울과 가까운 경기도 외곽 쪽으로 그런 집들을 거주지를 찾아보고 있습니다.
While wedding bells sound for Min, others have foregone or held off marriage and children. Marriage rates have seen a 40% drop in the decade from 2013 to 2023.
결혼은 할 수 있겠지만 제가 제 일에 너무 많은 시간과 노력을 쏟아부었다 보니까 아직 자녀를 갖는 것에 대한 생각 자체는 조금 하기가 어려운 상태입니다.
In 2019, alarm bells were sounded when South Korea's total fertility rate hit a record low of 0.98 children per woman. Today, that number has fallen precipitously to 0.68, the lowest
Perfect. Let's go.
in the world.
The thing is, but you also have to consider that no one gave a fuck how long this was going, right? Like, at one point it dropped below 2.1, and no one seemed to care. Like, that's basically humanity for you. We're not gonna do a damn thing, but we're just gonna put money in our pocket, and not gonna do a damn thing, well, until it possibly personally affects you. The thing is, like, even then, it won't care. Like, you know, I mean, if you're in Korea right now, your plan is that you get rich if you can, or you do what you can, and you leave Korea. Right? Let the ship sink. Who cares? Certainly not them.
But that's accounting for the whole country. It is much worse in Seoul, where in some areas it is as low as 0.55.
Yeah. I mean, if they can't afford a house, then that's it. Like, right? Unless you gotta have a kid in that closet that you're renting.
This figure falls far short of the replacement rate of 2.1, the average number of children required per woman to sustain population levels.
So one of the main reasons for that low birth rate is related to living expenses in South Korea, particularly the housing prices and the cost on educating kids and the female workers balancing between raising kids and hard working at the company. All this related to highly populated situation in Seoul metropolitan area.
It's not about the population. It's about the money, right? No, it's about the money, nothing else.
A situation in Seoul metropolitan area.
According to Beijing think tank UR Population Research Institute, South Korea is the most expensive country to raise a child from birth to 18 years of age.
Well, South Korean government is supporting public education until high school, but the problem is private education. So as of last year, per single high school students, middle school students, elementary school students, on average, it costs more than $550 per month. So if you have 2 kids, you spend more than $1,000 for kids' education every month. So that is about 40% of the young people's income. So that makes very difficult to raise birth rate in South Korea.
Yeah, and if you don't do this, presumably, then your child won't be competitive. Otherwise, you can hope that they're gonna be some kind of a gift from God who were gifted, but that might be just naive. Also, they might not get connections. So yeah, I mean, let's be realistic and say that in most cases they will need it. So I mean, people not like to say this, but education is mostly a pay to win.
So, South Korea finds itself in a quandary. Seoul's monopoly on opportunities draws young Koreans to the capital. But when they're here, the environment stymies their likelihood of getting married and having children. Meanwhile, the rural areas are depopulating, causing more young people to leave. This cycle has prompted the government to declare the shrinking population a national emergency.
The speed of the aging is the fastest among any country in the whole world. We say that after 50 years, the population of South Korea will be 50% of today. So 26 million population is not a size to maintain South Korean economy. And there is lots of problems.
Yeah, it's so much worse than that, because like you have to look at it from the individual perspective. Like these people just cannot have a life, right? I mean, probably if you're older, then you might be enjoying it, 40 plus, maybe your life is okay, but otherwise, like, what is gonna be the new generation? Like, okay, boys, I guess you're not gonna have a good life, because like some rich boys are kind of like need money in their pocket. I guess that's it. I mean, you're going extinct. But hey, maybe you can afford a closet, and that's about it. You better work very hard and compete super hard to keep it.
It's a problem related that we can't maintain the military power, we can't support the production of goods and services, and so on. So low fertility rate is a serious disaster to the future of the Korean society and economy.
President Yoon Suk-yeol announced in June this year that a new ministry called the Population Strategy Department will be set up to tackle the low birth rate.
Sounds like bullshit.
Government realized the issue is very big. Our people also realize that this is a very important issue in our future, but there is no solutions. So I'm just really worried because the government is too much behind, because it already happened.
Don't pretend to give a fuck. Who's this guy?
I'm worried because of our future, but there is no solutions. So
what?
I'm just really.
Are there no solutions?
It's a very important issue now.
Choi Hyun-sun, Public Administration Professor. What is his job?
The low birth rate.
Our government realized the issue is very big. Our people also realize that this is a very important issue in our future, but there is no solutions. So
no solutions, really. I thought he was just a government puppet.
I'm just really worried because the government is too much behind, because it
yeah, but you shouldn't pretend to care. Like, how long this is going on? For decades? Many decades? No one cares. Yeah? People care about money in their pocket, that's it.
It already happened.
One policy, at least, does not appear to be working: handing out baby bonuses. Since 2022,
doesn't it?
The government has handed out $1,400 to families for every first child born. But in this time, fertility rate still declined.
So
$1,400? That's nothing. Okay, Korea, I'll go there. You pay me $1 million, plus 5 million base, and I'll have all the kids for you, right? Easy. It's all about the money, right? It's not like $1,000. 1 million per kid. I mean, even conservative estimates, well, it doesn't even take into consideration how much time the parents would need to deal with the kids, right? But still, we are talking at least 6 figures to have a kid. It varies, but like at least 6 figures, and you have to consider the opportunity cost as well.
South Korean government and researchers on this matter recognize that money does not help out raising the birth rate.
What the fuck is this? This guy is a puppet too. Are you fucking kidding me? So let me guess. I know where this is going. So they figured out that you know what's gonna raise the birth rate? Sending people to die on a farm. That is where this video is going. That everyone is trying to escape because they know that there's no life there. Even less so than in Seoul.
We have to modify the fundamentals of social system for females, the working
for females,
conditions, the education for females, the working conditions, the education facilities, and so on. Without balancing between Seoul area and local area, we can't tackle the problems of the declining population.
Hey, are you a woman in Korea? Well, I got a proposition for you. You can just go to the farm and start having kids. You can just go alone and get knocked out by whoever, and that's it. Just we need farm workers and kids. So you got this.
And low fertility.
So, what is happening in these local rural areas? This is Gagok Elementary School in Gangneung County, 2 hours from Seoul by train.
지금 단양에서는 옛날에 초등학교가 30개 정도 있었는데요. 지금 많이 줄어서 10개 정도 남아 있습니다. 지금 6학년이 5명 있기 때문에 본교 기준으로 5명이 졸업할 것 같습니다. 지금 아직 6개월이나 남았고 지금 내년에 1학년들이 누가 입학하는지는 저희 초등학교에서 판단할 수 없고요.
Right now, Gangneung is home to less than 30,000 residents, a third the size of its population in the 1980s.
여기서는 태어날 수는 있지만 사람들은 보통 대도시나 이런 곳에서 살고 싶어 하기 때문에 많이 떠나고 그쪽에서 이제 대도시 같은 지역에서 가정을 이뤄서 자녀를 낳기 때문에 단양에서는 뭐 문화적 인프라라든지 이런 것들이 없다고 느끼기 때문에 많이들 떠나는 것 같습니다.
South Korea's low birth rate is well documented. One knock-on effect of this has been the closure of schools as student cohorts shrank. Between 2017 to 2022, 193 schools across South Korea have shuttered. But of these,
But it's not just that a school closes, but I mean the level of education is, well, very much depends on the school, and presumably a countryside school is gonna be a lot worse.
almost 9 in 10 were located outside of the Seoul metropolitan area. Young Seok has been teaching for 15 years before he was transferred to this school in 2022.
제가 처음 왔을 때는 본교에 한 18명 정도 있었던 것 같은데 5학년이랑 6학년이 좀 많았던 것 같습니다. 일반적으로 한 교실당
18 students only?
학생들이 한 18명 정도 있습니다. 학교 전체적으로 봤을 때는 100명 정도 있다고 보시면 됩니다. 한국 사회가 일단 저출산 문제가 있는데요. 이렇게 소규모 학교, 단양이란 이런 농촌 지역의 학교들은 더 심각하게 그런 저출산의 문제가 있구나.
School closure is just part of what is happening in the rural regions. From businesses to eateries to houses, signs of life are slowly dwindling in the countryside.
그런데 이걸 다시 뒤엎어 보면 사람이 서울로 갔기 때문에 이런 수도권의 장점이 나타나는. 네, 지방은 그 반대의 역작용이 나타나는 것이죠.
Congressman Han, as part of the National Assembly, helped pass the Special Act on Balanced National Development in 2020. It designated 89 cities, counties, and districts as depopulation areas, one of which is Danyang. These areas are at risk of disappearing due to population decline.
시골에서는 이미 아이를 낳는 소리를 들어본 지가 수십 년이 지났다는 곳들이 지방은 현실화되고 있는 상황입니다. 국가를 지탱할 수 있는 여력 자체가 붕괴되는 그런 현상이 나타나고 있습니다. 너무 극심한 격차를 보이고 있는
What is he saying?
극심한 격차를 보이고 있는 심각한 상황이라고 볼 수가 있습니다.
농촌의
So basically, you want to put pressure on the least fortunate in society to go to the farm and have kids and be farmers. I mean, I can find a farmer for you, mate. Where is this? Yeah.
수십 년이 지났다는 곳들이 지방은
You know, you're looking for farmers. Just look into the mirror, mate. You can go and farm along with your entire family. That kind of applies to this, whatever this guy is, who is very useful. Choi Hyun-sun.
지방은 현실화되고 있는 상황입니다. 국가를 지탱할 수 있는 여력 자체가 붕괴되는 그런 현상이 나타나고 있습니다. 너무 극심한 격차를 보이고 있는 심각한 상황이라고 볼 수가 있습니다.
농촌의 인구 감소
Now, I'm not necessarily against people going to the farm if they could have great lives for some reason, and they just it's really just money. But I doubt that they are having that.
감소는 한국뿐만 아니라 전 세계 다른 나라에서도 같이 일어나는 그런 현상이라고 볼 수가 있겠습니다. 문제는 한국이 그 정도가 상당히 심하고 속도도 상당히 빠른 것이 문제라고 볼 수가 있겠습니다. 서구의 다른 나라들은 도시가 성장하는 데 있어서 몇백 년이 걸렸습니다. 반면에 한국 같은 경우에는 몇십 년 안에 거대 도시로 성장을 하는 그런 패턴을 보였기 때문에 이렇게 급속하게 도시화가 이루어지면서 상대적으로 농촌에서는 급격하게 인구가 감소하는 그런 현상이 나타났다고 볼 수가 있겠습니다.
You know, this is kind of bullshit too, because sure, you might argue that the countryside is no, even that is not true. Has he been to Europe, for example? The countryside is dying too. So yeah, I guess it's not that bad that half the country lives in one area, but it's still fairly prevalent. I mean, it's mostly okay in America because you have the dumb car culture and extremely sparse housing. All right.
The speed of the aging is very high. At the same time, the fertility rate is the lowest in the world, which means if combined, the speed of the depopulation of the rural area in Korea is maybe much higher because of different kind of the issues come together, and it's a very hard hit on the rural area.
This guy's worth every penny, mate.
It is not just areas far from the Seoul metropolitan area that are disappearing.
Issues come together in Korea is maybe much.
I say you can be a farmer and go and be a farmer boy and have a bunch of children who's always going to be farmers. Why not? Aren't you interested in solving the problem?
Much higher because of different kind of the issues come together, and it's a very hard hit on the rural area.
It is not just areas far from the Seoul metropolitan area that are disappearing. If you take a look at the outskirts of Incheon and Gyeonggi, villages are emptying out.
Someone should do something about it. Not me, though. I want to stay in Seoul. Yeah.
Such as Megokri in Yeonju City, where 76-year-old Yoon Chong-jun lives.
우리 매국내 유일한 그 어린이 있는 집이에요. 요직도 이번 달에 그 애들이 셋인데 옥동리 신시가지로 이사 가요. 시골은 우리 보통 65세 이상 노인네, 우리 매국리를 기준으로 하면 65세 이상 평균 나이고, 현재 우리 그 기존의 농촌들은 노인들뿐이 없어요. 대부분 도시로 나가기 때문에 그런 형편이죠. 지난해에는 제가 그 쾌점이 와서 한 보름간 입원한 적이 있는데 여기서 하여튼 대학병원 가려면 1시간 40분 정도 가는데 그쪽 차가 있는 사람은 그렇게 걸리고 차 없는 노인들은 이제 버스 타고 가면 한 2시간씩 걸리죠.
그 다음에 이제 그 지방 그 대도시들 같은 경우에는 인구가 점점 줄면서 그런 규모의 경제가 형성되지 않기 때문에 서울이 가지고 있는 대중교통, 편리한 대중교통이라든가 의료 서비스라든가 교육시설이라든가 문화 여가시설 이런 것들을 확충하기가 상당히
Yeah, economic scale. So, I mean, you're not gonna have an amazing hospital, an amazing education, and amazing public transport in a small town. You're gonna have, you'll be lucky to have one hospital, few schools, something like that.
어려운 그렇다 보니까 사람들이 거주하기 또는 생활하기 선호하지 않는 그런 공간으로 좀 전락되는 그러면서 더욱더 서울로 사람들이 유입이 되는 그런 현상이 반복적으로 일어나고 있다고 볼 수가 있겠습니다.
Oh wow, how could you solve this problem? What a dilemma. What could be the solution to this? It is because you don't invest money into the outskirts, and also people don't make any money there either, so they can't live. There's really no way to solve this. I mean, their main problem is that they just try to... Their entire strategy, beyond the bullshit, is that they make life so fucking hard in Seoul that people have to move out of desperation or don't even go there, right?
South Korea is set to become a super age society in 2025, which means that 20% of its population will be over the age of 65. By 2050, 4 in 10 Koreans will be aged.
So that makes lots of problems in rural area and rural government because they can't collect a decent amount of the taxes from the people. So local governments and local areas is about to collapse in many different areas, but we are not ready for that right now.
Most countries same things happen is social cost is very high. Also, we have the national health service issue. So pension is we must pay back our entire aging population. That is a big impact on our maybe government side revenue and then the expenditures. So maybe we might lose our economic growth. We might lose our economic status.
What status?
Economic growth. We might lose our economic status.
You're tanking.
National health service issue. So pension is
I mean, the only possible... I'm not sure if this is a good part. But in other times, there would have been already a revolution. And probably the bread and circus is the only thing that's keeping the people in line. And maybe there's like a hope of you get a good job too. But who knows?
Has led to a shortage of workers. South of Seoul, in Ansan, the aging
our entire aging population. That is a big impact on our maybe government side revenue and then the expenditure.
Hey, Korean woman, I got a great proposition for you. You move to the farm. You work the farm for no money, or very bad money, and you have as many kids as you can, and make sure to pay as much taxes as you can, and give back to the old generation. They really love you.
So maybe we might lose our economic growth. We might lose our economic
At least you don't want to compromise economic growth.
status.
South of Seoul, in Ansan, the aging population has led to a shortage of workers. Without sufficient help, 73-year-old Park Jun-ryu farms from dawn to dusk.
나이가 먹을수록 힘들어. 몸이 따라주질 않으니까 내가 이걸 일을 하고 싶은데 이거를 제대로 못하니까 도와주는 사람은 이제 저희 안 식고 그다음에 이제 작은 아들이 이제 제일 많이 들어. 그러니까 식구만 있어 그럼 일선 구하기가 힘들어요. 여기 지금 평균적으로 제일 얕은 사람이 한 60대. 그다음에 이제 전부 다 70대에서 80대. 그래도 농촌에 젊은 층이 있어야 되는데 없으니까 마음은 좋지 않아. 그리고 이 하우스가 더우니까 일을 안 하시려고 그래 또. 너무 덥기 때문에 온도가 평균적으로 뭐 35도에서 40도까지 올라가니까 노인네들 일 시키기가 또 겁나고. 우영하니까 날씨 때문에 일사병 같은 거 이런 것 때문에 정말 어려움이 있다.
Yeah, that's hot.
이걸 대응하지 않고 그냥 자연 소멸이 되면 예를 들어 식량 주권에 관련된 문제도 농업 문제 대응하지 못하면 바로 나타나는 거예요. 근데 대한민국의 식량 주권도 없어지는 문제로 직결될 수가 있거든요. 이거 대단한 위기죠.
Come on, man. Think of the food. Now this guy can go and be a farmer, right?
To reverse the rural extinction, since 2022, the government has set aside $750 million per year for a period of 10 years. The goal is
715. Okay, that's something.
to revitalize the countryside
No. Just give it straight to the people.
and attract young people to live and work there. Last year, local governments proposed projects such as boosting tourism, attracting companies, remodeling old houses, and constructing educational facilities.
아마 2022년인가 이 기준으로 보면은 78.5%인가가 청년층입니다. 이동하는 인구에. 대학을 졸업하고 일자리가 없으면 청년들이 지방에 있을 이유가 없죠. 정부에서 과감한 세대 혜택을 받고 고용을 했을 때 특히 지방 인재를 고용했을 때 혜택이 있으면 기업은 반드시 하거든요.
In the meantime, as young South Koreans remain in the cities, migrant labor is plugging the gap. But is this the answer to Korea's worker woes?
Okay. I got $10 on this guy being a slave. Let's see.
Cambodian migrant worker Bun Thai was 25 years old when he started working on this farm in An Sam, owned by South Korean Ji Tae-sung.
So he's 34.
요즘은 거의 다
Do you think this guy has a house, a wife, a bunch of children, also a lot of savings? I mean, this guy must be having a great life. I mean, he lived in Korea for 10 years. At least, obviously, he's a Korean citizen at least. In addition to all of that, right?
거의 다 외국인 노동자들을 쓰고 있습니다. 일할 사람이 없으니까 한국 사람. 외국인 노동자 한 분 가지고는 조금 부족하지만은 우리 한국에 사는 아주머니가 조금 부족하지만 도와주고 있습니다.
I mean, they're probably not doing it because the money is not good enough. So this guy's probably living in circumstances that is not appropriate to show.
South Korea opened its doors to low-skilled migrant workers from Asia since 1980, and is becoming more reliant on foreign labor. 2 years ago, the number of non-professional work visas issued stood at 69,000. Last year, the figure doubled to 120,000. By the end of 2024, this could reach 165,000. Statistics Korea predicts that the proportion of foreigners in the country will double in 20 years.
As of now, the size of the foreign workers is about 1.5 million, according to official statistics from Korea. And most of these foreign workers are working at a rural area, particularly in agricultural industries and small and medium-sized companies' jobs, which is kind of avoided by Korean general workers because that is very hard and that is kind of dangerous.
To enable more migrant workers to make up for the lack of workers, South Korea has a variety of visa schemes.
Hard and very dangerous? He could be having it worse than a slave, because at least you want to keep a slave alive.
Schemes differentiated by length of stay.
가장 대표적인 이나인 비자는 3년에서 5년 정도 되면
Okay, so either you get a visa where you have to return to your country, ergo they don't want you to be a citizen.
원하게는 이제 본국으로 가야 됩니다. 그다음에 또 하나는 계절별로 계절에 따라서 예를 들어서 농사짓을 때에
Or there's no pretense, you just come for the season to pick fruit.
한국은 이제 사계절 뚜렷한 나라서 겨울에는 농사가 거의 없거든요. 그러니까 농사 짓는 철에 집중적으로 들어와서 뭐 한 6개월 정도를 있다가 나간다든가 이 정도로 해서
Oh wow, that's so good, so welcoming.
However, South Korea is a highly homogeneous country. The influx of foreign workers has met some resistance, with reports of abuse and
I mean, this guy must be having it great. I mean, they even showcase him. This guy must be the poster boy of your, hey, come to Korea, you can have a great life, right?
and discrimination.
외국인 노동자가 와서 힘들어하고 하는 것은 우리나라 하는 그 말, 한국말이 굉장히 어렵다고 그렇게 얘기를 해요. 와의 어떤 섞이는 문제, 교류하는 문제.
I mean, you could just speak English to them, or maybe you could speak their.
함께 사는 문제에 대해서.
I mean, it's kind of fair enough, but like, still. I guess English speaking wouldn't really come. But my point is, you wouldn't necessarily be able to blame people for that communication issues.
에 대해서 대단히 배타적인 정서가 있습니다. 조금씩 개선은 되고 있지만 결국 그런 잘못된 인식이 흡사 범죄를 저지르는 거 아니냐. 뭐 이렇게까지도.
Wow. Yeah, come on. Like, it used to be a little bit bad, little bit. I mean, we're not as racist as fuck anymore, I think. But like, you know, they might be criminal. Who the fuck knows, right?
오인이 되고.
Then, earlier this year, Thomson Reuters Foundation published a scathing report comparing the seasonal farm labor to modern-day slavery. Some workers had their passports and pay withheld.
Oh no!
By brokers.
아직도 한 해.
Oh no! They're having such great lives.
100명이 넘는 사람들이
100?
사망을 하고 있습니다. 이주 노동자들이 들어와서 비율로 따져보면 굉장히 어마어마한 수치죠. 돈을 벌어서 조금이라도 행복한 삶을 살기 위해서 찾아온 한국에서 그만한 숫자가 사망한다는 것은 정말 수치스러운 일입니다.
Yeah, but like, what? They just come here, get paid crap, and with high chance of death, and sent away. They're totally not welcome, and they have crap lives.
Apart from addressing the shortage of workers in rural areas, the country is trying to rebalance its population distribution. The solution? Moving people out of Seoul.
Yeah, this is not gonna help with that.
By building a new administrative capital, Sejong. Construction began in 2007 and is set to complete by 2031. The city is now home to almost 400,000 people. As of 2022, nearly 90 central administrative organizations, state think tanks, and government-affiliated institutions have moved. However, key government bodies remain in Seoul, like the Foreign, Defense, and Unification Ministries. While President Yoon Suk-yeol has pledged to make Sejong City work, not everyone shares his enthusiasm.
The government people, government employees in Sejong City do not want to go down to Sejong City. They just leave their families in Seoul, and they commute between Seoul and Sejong area.
세종시가 건설되면서 초반에 좀 우려가 됐던 사항들이 수도권하고 너무 거리가 가깝다. 그래서 어떤 국가 차원에서의 균형 발전이 실현되기보다는 수도권으로부터 더 연담화되는 상황이 발생할 수 있다. 이런 지적들이 좀 있었는데 실제로 지금의 통계를 보면 전국적으로 인구가 성장하는 지역이 수도권과 이 세종시를 포함한 대전, 세종 지역입니다. 그래서 세종시 같은 경우에 수도권에서의 인구 분산 효과보다는 나머지 지역에서 인구를 빨아들이는 효과가 더 크지 않았나 그런 생각이 듭니다.
Yet, the problem of overpopulation in Seoul may be solving itself. Over the past decade, Seoul has experienced a net outflow of approximately 860,000 residents. Those who quit the city life for the countryside are part of a phenomenon known as Kuichon.
도시의 그 삭막함과 그 많은 인파들 속에서
What? Priced out of living in a city and they're completely given up and went to the farm? I mean, that is basically a strategy beyond the bullshit.
애들하고 살다가 보니까 이 자연 속에서 나이 들면서 자연이 좋아서 이곳으로 왔죠.
70-year-old Park Yong-ja made the move 15 years ago. Before long, she was joined by her children.
지금 경기도 분당 쪽에도 살고 큰 딸은 또 둘째 딸은 이제 단양으로 왔어요. 아들 내외가 내려왔기 때문에 이제 시골로 왔어요. 서울에 살다가 지금은 또 엄청 만족하고 있어요. 며느리도 내려와 있고 도시에서 뭐 한 4,500만 원씩 받고 직장을 다녀보니 사실 도시의 집값을 따라갈 수도 없는 거고 또 새벽부터 밤 늦게까지 직장 생활 집에는 뭐 11시 12시 막 들어오잖아요. 차도 밀리고 하니까 그러다 보니까 생활이 항상 다람쥐 쳇바퀴 도는 생활.
Yong-ja now helps young people to adjust to life in the countryside.
사실 도시에서 오시는 분들한테 가장 소중하게
I mean, it's not terrible if you want to retire there, I would argue. But if you need jobs and you need schools for children and you need a bunch of utilities, the thing is, this could even suck if you're old because you might need the hospital and then what are you gonna do? As you don't care about that, but try to keep a healthy lifestyle, but still, like, you might take hours to get to the nearest hospital if you really move out into the countryside. Well, ideally you should move that far away from a hospital at least. But still, my point is you are more flexible if you're old and you're not concerned with like jobs and schools.
하게 또 소중한 이웃으로서 함께 호흡을 하면서 시골 생활을 잘 가르치고 있어요. 뭐 인구가 주는 현상은 전국 어디든지 다 똑같겠지만은 그래도 노력을 좀 하면은 좀 낫지 않을까 생각을 하죠.
귀촌, 귀향 이것도 하나의 대화.
So in a way, they could save us space by trying to get the old people out of Seoul.
대안으로 추진되고 있는 상황입니다. 근데 그 절대 수가 귀촌하는 또는 귀향하는 절대 수가 그렇게 많지는 않기 때문에 한국 같은 경우에 그 균형 발전을 위해서 과거부터 많은 정책들을 시행을 해왔고 많은 재원들을 투자해 왔습니다. 그럼에도 불구하고 수도권 서울을 포함한 수도권으로의 인구 쏠림은 더욱더 강화되는 그런 상황이라고 볼 수가 있겠습니다.
A demographic national emergency. That's how the South Korean government has characterized the country's population problem. And as Seoul continues to be a migration magnet while the rest of the country empties out, the crisis has become an existential one.
So if this kind of low fertility rate and extended life expectancy continues for the last 100 years, South Korean economy and society disappears in the next 100 years.
You are very optimistic. You're extremely optimistic. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow half of Seoul would be on fire. But even assuming that everything goes fine, I mean, at best you can hope that the robots will catch you and maybe like we start growing people artificially. But that's not the problem because people can already have kids. That's not the problem. But the kids that we just can't store them, right? We don't have enough houses and they don't have enough money. And that's it. I mean, if I was calling the shots, I would have tried to just put money into other cities that are not Seoul. That probably would have been wiser. I mean, but the whole point is that they don't want to put any money into the countryside, but they just kind of want to force people there. And their entire strategy is that migrants just keep coming and they'll just do the work. If that dries up, then they're just gonna really clamp on Seoul even more to force people into the countryside. And I can fucking guarantee it. It's never gonna be those who talk big. They're just trying to have others enjoy nature and the farmer life.
So that is really emergency situation as it is.
지금 대한민국 가장 그 제가 진단했을 때 위기의 문제는 저출생입니다.
Oh no, you're facing that problem. This guy, what the heck? Politician? Yeah. But like, why not do anything for like decades?
문제.
I know. The West is doing it too, but still. That's no excuse. But you guys are truly number one here.
이것이 지속되면 이걸 뭐 3년, 5년 계획하고 이렇게 했다가는 이 눈덩이처럼 위기 상황이 지금
No, that's garbage.
굴러가고 있어요.
Like, what is the big plan? Like, put like 700 something something into the countryside and that's it? When Seoul is worth trillions, like over trillion. So yeah, I don't think the 700 is gonna cut it. They're not even trying. And almost certainly that money will be just eaten up by corruption. They're gonna give it to take care of the old people who are living on the countryside. It's not gonna go to those farmer guys. Like, because suppose Seoul said that, you know, we're gonna buy you a house on the countryside. Let's say that's gonna be like 500,000, and you also gonna get like, you know, like 2 million, and that's just to be a farmer. It's like, okay, I would say they would find some farmers, right?
그래서 빨리 지금 대응하지 않으면 안 된다.
Yes, we must address this problem right now. Wow, wow, wow.
시기는 지금 바로 지금입니다.
This guy, perfect. We gave 1,400 to the women and concluded that it's not about the money at all. People just love to love nature. Just have to love nature. I mean, it's all about going back to nature. That's it. Everyone just likes Seoul for no reason whatsoever, and we just need to love nature more. Also, all who lives in Seoul, especially those at the top, we should just go back to nature, and that's it. And everything will be solved in 3 to 5 years, no doubt. We can circle back to this. His solution is perfect. I just spent 700 million out of trillion plus, and it's gonna be fine.